So this week we have Stryper with Even the Devil Believes. 11 tracks for 46 minutes. The 13th studio album of the American band, released September 2020 by Frontiers Records, produced by Michael Sweet. This one comes about after the last albums were generally pretty well received here at the show, and it's probably a good thing we don't have Dave with us tonight, going on previous history. But we are going to rip the bandit off. Brendan, you're going to go first on this one.
Am I?
Yes.
Did you say produced by Michael Sweet?
Yes.
Sounds fucking like it. Look.
Really? You don't rate him as a producer?
I barely rate him as a singer, but that's a whole nother story. I've never been a Stryper fan, and it's not just because of the subject matter, although that doesn't fucking help. This is just hard to listen to. And, you know, even the song titles sound like they come out of a hymn book, and the lyrics are even worse. So it makes it really hard to listen to if you think like I do. It's really hard to be sort of subjective on it. So I try to sort of block all that out and listen to the music, because I know there is certainly a section of the metal community that likes to defend Stryper. They're going, hey, they're great. If you put that aside, they're fantastic.
Yep.
But if this album's anything to go by, they're not. The riffs are solid, but the guitars are really pushed back. The vocals are pushed way too far forward. It's basically almost vocal and drum. So the fact that, you know, some of the Michael, what's his name? Michael Sweet.
Michael Sweet, yeah.
Produced it. I'm going, yeah. This is like the Justice for All for fucking Stryper albums. You know, he's just pushed forward exactly what he wants to push forward. And it sounds shite. And the lyrics are awful. And the whole thing just sounds really fucking contrived when the end of it. There were some really good riffs, but they haven't transposed the riffs into good songs. You know, again, lyrical content aside, good songs aren't there for mine. So if you're a Stryper fan, you might like it. If you're not, it's not going to change your mind. Yeah, I'll give it a 2.
No standouts?
Nah.
No. All right. Tim, follow it up.
So again, I went into this thinking I was gonna be fair.
Yeah.
And I want to be fair. So I thought, you know, there were some good performances on here overall, but the thing that made it really hard was the mix.
Okay.
So what happened, like what I think happened was, so the way it's mixed is you got a really big drum sound and the big bass sound, and the vocals are pushed right to the front, and the guitars all the way back. But what's happened is you've got really, you know, basic 4/4 drum beats, and the bass is following along with that. But most of the musical interesting stuff is happening in between the guitars and the vocals. But what's happened is they've gone for that hair metal guitar tone, which is really trebly and tinny, which clashes with the vocals, and when you got to pick one or the other, you go for the vocals. So that's pushed the guitars all the way back, and you can still kind of hear them, but they kind of do clash with the vocals, and because of that, because the guitars are so far back, you lose any potential interesting part of their songwriting because the mix just doesn't work. If this was mixed like an Alter Bridge album, with a much meatier guitar tone and proper, like, mixed so that it allows the vocals to cut through without having to push them right to the front and push everything else to the back, then you might actually have a good album. But because of this, and I don't know why they've made this decision, that Michael Sweet produced it, maybe something to do with it, it just didn't work.
Okay.
You may have prayed for a good mix.
Yeah, it worked as well as the Pope's coronavirus blessing. I'll give it a 6. There's no real standouts. It's okay. There's decent performances all over it, but yeah, it could have been much better just with a bit more effort.
I think they did mix a trick with the mids. I think the mid-range doesn't help it. But I think that overall, I mean, the thing that first stood out for me is that Michael Sweet's approaching 60, and he can still, I know maybe Ren doesn't rate him as a singer, but I think he's still able to hit the notes and do all the things that he does. People may not like his tone. That's down to taste more than anything else, but I think his ability to hit notes and have a range is still very much there and strong.
His melody choices are very cheesy too. You know, like
That's always been the case, though. That's nothing
Yeah,
new.
no, I'm not saying he can't sing. He obviously can sing, but
Yeah.
you know, like I just don't find him pleasant to listen to.
Yeah, I figured that. It's not the most like when you're listening to it. The letdown with Stryper as a general thing is that musically, like I put aside the lyrics because I think that for a while now they've actually done a pretty well balanced job of making it more about a celebration as opposed to a preachy kind of attitude on balance. Like they do a very much a case of we have faith and we're celebrating it, and I'll respect that until the cows come home. As long as you're not trying to force it down my throat, then I don't care. I'll deal with it however you like. But I think they did that part pretty well. They have done for a few albums now.
The third track is called "Let Him In."
I know, but if you listen to the lyrics deeply, like it's about more about the impact as opposed to it's a suggestive sell tactic as opposed to a door knocking tactic. Does that make sense?
All I could think is like faith plus one.
Yeah, very faith plus one.
So I get all those criticisms, but I've been able to sort of park that stuff for a while now. Because the last two albums from Stryper actually really impressed me. I thought they were pretty bloody well done, the last two in particular. This isn't as strong as those two, though. And yeah, they did miss a trick with the mix in the mids. I think having the Alter Bridge mix would make it a lot better. But overall, I didn't mind it. I think they've got some nice use of space. Like, nothing here is going to be overly, oh my God, wow, creative. But they do have a shtick that they've gone for and all that sort of stuff. And I think they do it pretty well overall. Are they the world's most mind-blowing metal band? No. And they never have been. But they do enough to make it at least good. And it's, and to good to great kind of thing in how much you can enjoy the riff work and all sorts of stuff. Yes, the mix didn't help that, but the actual, when you dig into it, and I'm listening through these awesome headphones here that I've got that just really allow me to dig into it a lot deeper. Maybe that's a different representation I'm getting out, but I didn't mind the mix because I was still able to pick up enough of what was going on. I know that I missed a trick there, but I still think it overall did all right. I didn't mind the hooks. I know it's cheesy, but I thought they were well done. It does have the whole earworm effect, which is what a hook is supposed to do. It's supposed to stay with you. And I thought that, they did a nice job in writing the songs of letting things ring out. They didn't just always make it crammed and busy. They had moments where things sort of spaced and played out in the environment, so to speak, that they created for it. And I think that was really nice to done. So it didn't make the album a one-trick pony, and that was cool too. They had like the ballads and stuff in there which you expect, but they wrote some really good songs. Not all of them are fantastic, but they wrote some really good ones on this one. This won't win new fans. That's a given. I think at this point in time, Stryper aren't even trying to win new fans. They probably shouldn't even be trying to, but they still have enough here to make their existing fans more than happy for mine. And as I've gotten to know their discography better over the years, I find this to be one of the better ones of their catalogue, especially when you compare their last three to their first three, for example. You can see there's a leap of how far they've come from the time when they started to where they are today. Not as good as the last two, but I think it's still a record worth listening to. I don't think you should dismiss this one. I know that it's going to be challenging for some people to listen to this sort of stuff. And yes, Brendan and Tim are going to disagree with me on this. But I think it's worth checking out to make up your own mind for. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Even the Devil Believes, This I Pray, and Forgotten Rock and Roll. And yes, that's cheesy as all hell, but
This I fucking pray.
Yeah. but the reason why I chose that song is because there's a great hook in it. Like, the melody of that was really cool. I thought ultimately on balance, that's one of the purest forms of him celebrating what he believes, as opposed, and also it was much less ran down the throat kind of mentality than a lot of the other songs on the record as well. I think lyrically that was very sort of, to the neutral listener, one of those ones I know the title is off-putting, but the lyrics themselves it's easy to get into. I want to hear what actual long-term Stryper, I know people are going to hate on us for this review, and that's okay, but I want to hear what long-term Stryper fans think of this particular record and where it ranks, because I think Fallen and To Hell with the Devil, the last two, particularly Fallen was a belter of a record. I don't think this one stacks up to the previous two, but it is still a solid record. So I want to see where the actual Stryper fans land on this one and see if
comment away.
Yeah, they will. Don't worry. They will. We know they will. But that's what we have for this week. So